Very warm welcome, all my dear students. So, in our previous lecture of theory of 8085 microprocessor, we have studied basic idea of 8085 microprocessor. So, in this lecture, we will study block diagram of 8085 microprocessor. So now block diagram is what? So normally whatever the different circuits are there which are present in 8085 IC, so these circuits are represented by different blocks. So this is the idea behind block diagram. So we will start with arithmetic and logic unit of the microprocessor IC. So this is the arithmetic and logic unit of 8085 microprocessor. So as its name indicates, it performs arithmetical and logical operations. So arithmetical means addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So but here our processor performs out of these four, it performs addition and subtraction. And apart from addition and subtraction, it also performs comparative operations. That means greater than, less than and equal to. These are the comparative operations. So these operations are performed by arithmetic and logic unit. So next set of operations performed by ALU is logical operations. So logical means we know AND operation, OR operation, XOR operation. So these operations are performed by this arithmetic and logic unit. Okay. So now as we know, for performing any kind of operation, that means suppose addition, we will take example of addition. So suppose I want to add, sorry, if I want to do addition, so at that time I require at least two numbers, right? So without that we can't go for addition or subtraction or any kind of arithmetic or logical operations. So here suppose I am taking two numbers for addition, 5 and 4. Okay, I am taking two numbers, one is 5 and another is 4. So we will take example that how the addition of these two numbers is performed by this your arithmetic and logic unit. So remember, we know two inputs are there for arithmetic and logic unit. So one input is accumulator and another input is your temporary register. So one thing you remember that whenever we are going to perform addition or any kind of operation, so for that we require two numbers. So you have to load your one number out of these two numbers compulsory in your accumulator. Remember again that you are having two numbers for performing any kind of arithmetic or logical operation. So for that you have to load your any one number. So okay, we will take here example, here 5 number in this case. Okay, so you can load 4 also, but you have to load one number compulsory out of these two to the accumulator. So here I am taking example as loading of 5. So that means remember that for performing arithmetical and logical operations, your one number must be compulsory in your accumulator. So here I am loading 5 to the accumulator. So how to load 5 number to the accumulator? So there is an instruction I will cover in next video lecture. That is our next video lecture will be on instruction set of 8085 microprocessor. So now here I have loaded 5 number. That is I am going to perform addition of 5 and 4. So I have loaded 5 number to the accumulator. So now what about this 4 number? So now you are seeing that on the screen that 4 number has from temporary register, right? Because another input to the arithmetic and logic unit is temporary register. But we cannot load 4 directly to the temporary register. Remember, we cannot load 4 number, that is our remaining second number, to the temporary register directly. So there are three possible sources. So where this 4 number can be, that means your second number can be from three different sources. So your first source, okay, I will minimize it so idea will be more clear. So your first source, okay, so again I will draw. I want to perform addition of 5 and 4. So your 5 is loaded to the accumulator and remaining 4, this 4 number. So there are three possible sources that 4 number can be from. So your first possible source is memory device. Remember, your first possible source is memory device. That means you can store your number in memory device so that you can access. Your second possible source is general purpose register. Okay, as earlier discussed in previous lecture, microprocessor has 8085 microprocessor has 6 general purpose registers, naming B, C, D, E, H, L. So these 6 registers can hold or can store 8-bit data. So that means your four number, that is your second number, it can be from B, C, D, E, H or L depending upon where you have stored. So how to store in memory, how to store in general purpose register or move your number to general purpose register, that is again in instruction set. So it will be clear in next lecture. So now meanwhile remember that your second source for this 4 number is your general purpose register. And third case is that your 4 number can be from, so it is a direct data. That means we can give immediate or direct data to the processor. So it is given in the form of instruction. So again it will be clear whenever we are going to perform that instruction set video lecture. Sorry, whenever we are going to see next lecture of instruction set. So at that time your idea will be clear, right? So third source is from direct data and it is given to, it is mentioned in the instruction itself. So now you are having 3 possible sources as I discussed. So now from out of these possible 3 sources, your 4 number is then it is brought to this temporary register, right? So that means it can be from your general purpose register. So it is brought from this line, data lines, data bus to temporary register, or if it is from memory, or if it is from instruction set, instruction itself, that means direct data. So although it is in the instruction, so that instruction is again stored in the memory. So these possible 2 sources, that means from memory location and in instruction itself, but instruction is stored in the memory. So that's why these 2 possible sources are from your memory device. So again, if it is stored in memory or instruction, so this data is transferred from the memory device to the temporary register, right? So earlier I was having 5 in accumulator as we are doing addition of 5 plus 4. So now your 4 number is now in your temporary register, right? So now you have got the idea of temporary register, that it's just working is it brings the your second operand, your second number near to the accumulator or near to the arithmetic and logic unit. So now here you can perform addition, right? So now here I am having 5 in accumulator and 4 is in temporary register. So temporary register hold this 4 number for temporarily, that means after the operation, and after next number comes or loaded to the temporary register, our earlier number erases. Okay, so meanwhile remember that now your 4 number which has come from 3 different possible sources, now it is brought in temporary register for addition purpose. So now here this arithmetic and logical unit performs addition after giving the instruction of addition. So now here I am getting output as 9. Okay, here I am getting output as 9. So now this 9 number is again output I am having 9 after the addition of 5 plus 4, right? So this output is again stored back to the accumulator. Okay, it is again stored back to the accumulator. That means now accumulator's current value is 9 after the addition, right? So now remember that whenever whatever the operations, whatever the result of the ALU is there, so it is again stored back to the accumulator. Okay, so now you have got the idea of arithmetical and logic unit. It performs arithmetical as well as logical operations. And now little bit idea of your accumulator, that means it is also a part of arithmetic and logical operations because it holds or we are having two numbers for performing any kind of arithmetic or logical operation. So your one number we have to compulsory load in accumulator, and also the result of the arithmetic and logic unit also is stored to the accumulator. So that means accumulator also performs arithmetical and logical operations. This is the one role of accumulator. And second role of accumulator is perform load and store operation or load and store functions. So now load and store functions means loading data from the memory device or storing accumulators data to the memory. So this is the load store function. So we will take one example, that is how data is loaded from memory device to the accumulator. So now as we know, memory device is a circuit. Actually memory chip, internally it is subdivided into small equal subparts as earlier we discussed, and each subpart is called as memory location. And remember, for each subpart or each memory location there is a unique 16-bit address is assigned. Just like our postal service, each our geographical area is divided into small postal areas, and for each postal area we assign 6-digit pin code, as we know. So similarly, memory is divided into small number of subpart called memory locations, and each memory location, suppose this is particularly I have written 0. So each particular memory location has its unique 16-bit address. So once we provide 16-bit address to the memory device, so memory device internal circuit locate that particular memory location so that we can access our stored data from that particular memory location. So now memory device is connected here at the bottom, right bottom side. Remember here, memory device is connected at address buffer and address data buffer. This is the memory I have drawn at right bottom side. So here you can see that there are two blocks. One is address buffer and another is address oblique data buffer. So we know that for loading data from memory device, we have to load first. We should know from which memory location we are loading, right? So as we know that memory device is divided into small parts. Each part is known as, each subpart is known as memory location. So in which memory location of the particular memory device that data is stored, so we should know the 16-bit address of that particular memory location. So for loading data from the memory, first task is provide 16-bit address to the memory device, right? So that memory circuit, internal circuit will locate that or find that particular memory location having that unique 16-bit address. So that your memory address or that 16-bit unique address, it is provided by this address buffer and address oblique data buffer to the memory. So here you can see that we are having AD0 to AD7, that means 8 bits are there, and again A8 to A15, so again 8 bit. So together 8 plus 8, it becomes 16. So 16-bit address is given to the memory device via these two blocks. Okay, so now once address is given to the memory, then memory's internal circuit locates that particular memory location, right? So once that particular memory location is found, so then at that time we can retrieve our stored data and load to the accumulator, right? So that data is loaded to the accumulator through this lower block, that is your right side block, address oblique data buffer, and this data is delivered to your accumulator. This called as a load function. Okay, so now this block, address oblique data buffer, while providing addressing to the memory device, it acts as address buffer, and while retrieving data from the memory device or storing data to that particular memory device, at that time it acts as a data buffer. Okay, so now you have got the idea of how accumulator is loaded from the memory device, right, and via this address and address oblique data buffer, right. So like this way. So now how to store data to the memory, that is load store is the function of accumulator. So now same thing is used, that means here also we require 16-bit address in that is we require 16-bit address of particular memory location of a memory device in which I want to store my data. So once after delivering that 16-bit address to the memory through this address buffer and address oblique data buffer, so then a track is generated from memory device internal circuit to that particular location where I want to store my data. So then again data from accumulator is delivered via this 8-bit internal data bus through this address oblique data buffer to the memory device, and in memory device to a particular location, memory location of which earlier we have provided 16-bit address. Okay, so this is a load and store function of accumulator. So now next function of accumulator is IO operation, or it performs IO functions. So normally whenever we are using microprocessor, so we may have connected small devices to the microprocessor. So for delivering data to these small devices, generally we call them as peripherals. So this data is provided from accumulator to this serial IO control to the outside world. Okay, that means we can receive data from outside world, or we can send data from inside world to the outside world of microprocessor. So this is performed by this serial IO control block. Okay, so data is transferred serially means one bit at a time, and bits are transferred one by one after the another. So these are the three functions of accumulator, that is performing arithmetical logical operations, performing load store functions, and performing IO operations. So now next block which is also having equal importance is here general purpose registers. Again I will revise that because it has also great importance. So now as its name indicates, general purpose registers, that means we can use them for our general purpose. That means as these are the 6 registers, right, B, C, D, E and HL. So each register can hold 8-bit data. So that means also suppose I want to store 16-bit data. So for that purpose these registers are already know that these are in the pairs, that is the first pair is BC, second pair is DE and third pair is HL. So we can store our 16-bit data in these pairs. Suppose I want to store my 16-bit data, then I can store in BC register also, as that means upper 8-bit in B and lower 8-bit in C, as these registers are in the form of pairs, right. So we can use for storing our data, we can use them in arithmetical and logical operations. That means your one number is compulsory in your accumulator, right, as we discussed, your one number is compulsory in your accumulator, and another number you can store in any of these 6 registers, right. And another function of HL pair specially here, HL pair specially is we can store 16-bit address of memory location in HL pair for accessing the data of particular memory location of a device. Apart from this BCD HL pair, apart from BC and DE, this HL pair has another role, that we can store our 16-bit address in HL pair. Okay, so now you have got the idea of accumulator, temporary register, arithmetic logic unit, address buffer, address oblique data buffer, and then general purpose registers, serial IO control, right. So now remaining thing which is important here is program counter, right. So I will explain role of program counter. So normally whenever we are executing program, so remember that for performing microprocessor to perform dedicated tasks, we have to provide them, we have to provide microprocessor some set of instructions, right. So these are the instructions, means these are the codes we have to provide to the microprocessor so that it can perform dedicated tasks. But the problem is we cannot deliver that instruction to the microprocessor directly orally we can't say do this. So for that, these instructions we have to give to the processor, but these instructions we have to store somewhere in the memory device. And we know memory device is connected at the right bottom side, right? So remember, whenever we have to give some data, the instructions to the processor, then we have to store these instructions in memory device. So task of program counter is it always points to the address of memory location of next instruction. Okay, that means suppose I am having instructions as 1 2 3 4, and these instructions are stored somewhere in the memory. Somewhere in the memory means somewhere in the memory locations of the particular memory device. So now suppose your first instruction is executing by the processor. Okay, your first instruction is being executed by your processor or by your arithmetic and logic unit, suppose. But at that time also I want to know that what is the next instruction, right? I should know what is the upcoming next instruction. So that means there will be a continuity and speed will be more. So that means what is the next instruction I should know. And apart from that, I should know in which memory location that memory instruction is stored. Sorry, that instruction. So in which memory location that instruction is stored. So here in this case, we are having this 2 number instruction. So we require the memory address, 16-bit memory address of that instruction. That means we require 16-bit address of that particular memory location in which this our second instruction is stored, so that we can access the second instruction immediately after the processing of your first instruction, right? So program counter holds that 16-bit address. Program counter holds that 16-bit address of the memory location in which your next instruction is stored, so that your execution will be smooth and fast. So that means if your second instruction is executing at that time, program counter is having the address of instruction, that means address of memory location in which this third instruction is stored, right? So that means the role of program counter is it holds address of next instruction while we are processing our previous instruction or our current instruction. So now then there is instruction register. Okay, so instruction register, as name indicates, so it fetches the instruction from memory device. Okay, so we know that instructions are stored in the memory, and program counter holds that address of, always holds the address of next instruction when we are processing current instruction. So instruction register's task is to load instruction from memory to the instruction register, right? It fetches instruction from memory device. This is the role of instruction register. Then after instruction register, there is instruction decoder and machine cycle encoding, right? So instruction decoder and machine cycle encoding. So here its task, as its name indicates, it decode the instruction. Decode the instruction means what? Here idea becomes clear. That means which operation we have to complete. Instruction register's role is to fetch the instruction, but it does not know what is that instruction. That means which type of instruction is there, it does not know, instruction register. But at instruction decoder, instruction is decoded, and at that time we know that which type of instruction is. That means whether it is a type of addition, whether it is type of subtraction. So likewise, instruction decoder clears the idea that this instruction is of what purpose. That means it decodes the instruction. And machine cycle encoding, okay, this block also performs machine cycle encoding. So that means it decides the steps or encodes the operation in the form of steps. So it decides the steps in which we can complete the operation, decoded operation. That means whatever the operation is we have to perform, that is it is decoded by the instruction decoder. So we now idea becomes clear that what task we have to perform. So this task in which steps we can perform, it is decided and encoded by machine cycle encoding. Okay, so now after machine cycle encoding, then there is timing and control unit. Okay, so then there is a timing and control unit. So as its name indicates, timing and control unit, it provides timing and control signal to all the circuits to the microprocessor, to the all internal circuits of microprocessor, as well as to the external circuits, that means to the memory devices or to the small peripheral devices which we have connected to the microprocessor. It provides timing and control signals, and it monitors all the operation of all the blocks of internal circuits of our 8085 microprocessor. Okay, and one thing is remaining here is flag, right? So I kept because flag register is in next slide. So now you have got the idea of, okay, I will revise again: accumulator, then temporary register, arithmetic and logic unit. Now flag I will explain later. So then instruction register, instruction decoder, then general purpose registers, this program counter, address buffer, address oblique data buffer, then serial IO control. So now remember now, and also this timing and control unit, right? So timing and control unit, it provides timing and control signal to all the circuits, internal circuits of processor, as well as external circuits of devices which we have connected to the processor. So that that means actually it monitors all the operations of the different blocks, right, by providing timing and control signal to all the blocks. That means reading, writing from external devices, providing data, or which type of operation we have to perform, that is decided by control, timing and control unit. Okay, so now the remaining is here here stack pointer, but I am not going to explain because in detail, because we are having practical on basic programming on of 8085 microprocessor. So for that, which is required, I have explained clearly, because otherwise it will video will be more, and also it will be difficult to recall all the things, right? So then now remaining is incrementer and decrementer address latch. So this block is used for increasing or decreasing contents of program counter. Now we know contents of program counter are nothing but it holds 16-bit address of next instruction. So this incrementer and decrementer block is used for increasing or decreasing contents, that means for increasing or decreasing address of program counter, and as well as for stack pointer. It is used for stack pointer also. And so now remaining from this block diagram is interrupt control. So interrupt control is associated with stack pointer, but I will not explain because it will become difficult to remember all the things, and our motto is to clear the basic information or basic concepts of processor. Okay, so that means it will become difficult to understand you if I am going to explain all the things. And remember that if I am going to explain a lot, remember for microprocessor block diagram there are so many things to explain, and it will become a 2 hours lecture, so that I am not going to take, because as our idea is to clear basic concepts of you. Okay, whenever I will get time, and you also get time, you can ask me at any time. I will make clear your concepts regarding that remaining blocks. Okay, so now the thing remained here is flag register, right? So flag register, as name indicates, okay, we will, here you can see that this is your flag register. So there is one slide here. So this is your flag register. Okay, that block is nothing but it has 8-bit. That block, actually all the blocks are 8-bit wide except program counter, stack pointer, and incrementer decrementer latch. So remember that this is your flag, and it is 8-bit wide. Okay, so now Flag means what? As its name indicates, flag. So flag means generally these flags are used for indicating some purpose, indicating sub signals, right? Flags are used for indicating signals. So here also we know that we are performing arithmetical and logical operations, right? That means addition, subtraction, comparison. Then logical operations are there. These are the AND operation, XOR operation, OR operation. So at the output of arithmetic and logic unit, we are getting some output. So this flag register is used for indicating that output. Okay, that means what type of output is that? That is the result, type of result we have got. So here you can see that these are the set of 5 flip-flops. Normally the set of 5 flip-flops means we know we studied SR flip-flop in our sequential and combinational logic circuits lecture. So it holds a 1 bit data, that is it holds q equal to 0 if we are resetting the flip-flop, and it is 1 if we are setting the flip-flop, right? Set means output is 1 and reset means output is 0, right? So here we are having 5 flags, that means 5 set of flip-flops. Each flip-flop holds 1 bit data. So now temporarily forget about flip-flops. So here we are having this flag register. So now in flag register we are having 5 different flags, that is one is yes, then Z, auxiliary carry, parity and carry. Okay, so I will explain one by one. So now we know that we can get different type of results at the output of arithmetic and logic unit, right? So this yes bit, okay, indicates, here you can see that it is a sign flag, right? Sign flag means if the output of ALU is negative, then output is 1, otherwise it is 0. Okay, if output is negative, right? So sign flag means if the result of the operation is positive, sign bit is 0, this D7, this sign bit becomes 0 if the output is positive, and if output is negative, then sign bit becomes 1, or this sign flag becomes 1, right? So now next flag is 0 flag, right? So 0 flag, as the name indicates, if the result of the operation of ALU is 0, only at that time its value is 1, otherwise if output is 0, right? If output is 0, then this 0 flag becomes 1. Next flag is auxiliary carry. Okay, this D4 auxiliary carry. So now I will take one example. So auxiliary carry means what, you will understand. Suppose I am adding 19 and 18. Okay, so now 9 plus 8, 17, right? So here 1 is here our carry, right? So now 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, right? Okay, here carry is not coming. Okay, I will write 99. Okay, now add will be more. Okay, again I will repeat, sorry, so there will be no confusion. I am adding 99 and suppose 28. Okay, I am adding 99 and 28. So here 9 plus 8, it is 17, right? So this 1 is carry, we know. Now 9 plus 2, it is 11, but 11 plus this 1, 12. So 2 and 1 again coming here. So now finally output is 127. This is your result. So here this carry is called auxiliary carry. Okay, this carry is called auxiliary carry, and this final carry is called carry. Okay, this final carry is called carry. So similarly here we are dealing with 8-bit data. So suppose my first number is like this, my second number is like this. So these two 8-bit numbers are divided into 2 parts like this. That means 2 parts it is divided for addition purpose. Now here in this case consider addition purpose. Okay, so these 2 bits are each 8-bit number is divided into 2 parts, that is 4 part, lower 4 bit, right, and lower 4 bit, and this upper 4 bit, total 8 bit. So Suppose while adding, if carry is generated from this side, right? If carry is generated here, right? That means if carry is coming from this side here, so this carry is nothing but your auxiliary carry, right? That means if carry is generated from your lower 4 bit and to the upper 4 bit, from lower 4 bit to the upper 4 bit, then this carry is called as your auxiliary carry. And if at the final here, if carry is generated, this carry is called as your cy or carry, right? So that means you have got the idea that auxiliary carry and carry. If auxiliary carry is generated, this becomes 1, right? This AC becomes 1. And if final carry is generated, this becomes 1, right? So now similarly in subtraction, in addition we know that it is a carry, but in subtraction it is a borrow, right? So if auxiliary borrow is generated in lower 4 bit, whenever we are when we are performing subtraction, and if borrow is generated from lower 4 bit, at that time this borrow is called, at that time this AC bit is 1. And if final borrow is generated, at that time this cy bit becomes 1 in subtraction and in addition, as I explained earlier, right? So there is no any kind of confusion. Okay, so now last bit remaining is this parity bit, right? So parity is actually of two types, even parity and odd parity. So what is even parity and what is odd parity? So I will take one example so you will understand. Suppose as we are dealing with 8-bit data, I am having 8-bit data 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So now idea is, first we have to count number of ones present in the data. Here number of ones are 1, 2, 3, 4. So count of number of ones is 4. So if the count of the number of ones is even, then this parity is called as even parity. If the count of the number of ones is odd, then this parity is called as odd parity. So if the parity is even, this parity bit becomes 1. Okay, this parity bit becomes 1. And if the parity is odd, that means the count of number of ones present in 8-bit data is what? If it is odd, then output or that p bit is 0 at that time. Okay, so now there is no any kind of confusion regarding this your flag register. So it has 5 flags. This yes flag is for indicating result is negative or positive. If result is negative, it is 1, otherwise it is 0. Then this 0 bit, this 0 flag is used if whether the output is 0 or not. If the result is 0, result of arithmetic and logic unit is 0, then Z is 1, otherwise it is 0. Auxiliary carry is, as I discussed, if the auxiliary carry is generated, it is called as intermediate carry. So if intermediate carry is generated, at that time this flag becomes 1, otherwise it is 0. And in subtraction, if auxiliary borrow is generated, it becomes 1. And parity, if the parity is even, that means number of ones in the 8-bit data is even, then this is 1, otherwise it is 0. And this is cy bit, that is carry bit. If the final carry is generated, it becomes 1, or if in subtraction final borrow is generated, it becomes 1, otherwise it is 0, right? So this is your complete explanation of your 8085 IC block diagram. Some parts I have left because it becomes more difficult to understand or to recall all the things. And also we are having basic programming, only we are having basic programming. We are having only one practical actually, okay, of that microprocessor, and we have to just develop basic programs. So the information which is required for developing that basic programming, that I have covered from the block diagram, right? So this is your 8085 IC, okay, 8085 IC. Okay, I will zoom it, then you will see this is your 8085 IC. It is a microcontroller. You can see the number 8085, right? So there are different circuits present in this IC, and each circuit have the block as I have explained in the block diagram, right? And this is the pin diagram. Okay, that means what are the pins of the 8051, right? So this is up to your basic introduction, right? Okay, so block diagram I have covered in this video lecture, right? And actual idea, that means how the processes are happening in the EduGrade 5 I have covered. So this pin diagram is not of our great importance, because as we are dealing with simulation software only, right? So at that time we are not going to do actual connections. So in software, whenever suppose I will get time in the college while performing, that means for taking your practical, as it has a external oral for the subject, that's why I'm focusing on the video lectures also. So at that time again I will clear everything to you. Okay, so now up to now we have covered the theory of 8085, right? So that means here in the next slides, just I have given the basic information, that is what is accumulator, arithmetic logic unit, general purpose registers, right? So likewise in all the slides, whatever we have discussed, I have just written here: flag register, instruction register and decoder, timing and control unit, like this, interrupt control, then serial IO control, right? Then address buffer, address data buffer, and address bus and data bus, right? So I will provide you this soft copy of this my PPT on which I have prepared a video lecture. So you can ask any query regarding whatever I have discussed at any time. You can ask me on group. You can reply me privately at any time, right? So thank you so much.